Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
It's always been a lifetime goal to play in the SEC. So when this opportunity was brought to me, I felt like it was a dream come true, and it's a blessing. So I'm getting this one lifetime opportunity to make the most out of my athleticism and the most out of my talent.
I think it's just who we are and what we want to achieve and the goals that we want to achieve. That's just what we do. We're going to improve every day. I feel it every day in practice. So I think that's just who we are.
Well, the recruiting world is heating up as the recruiters are back on the road today. The dead period ends, and the coaches are out and about. Some various schools all around South Carolina, the Southeast, and across the country. And the Gamecocks did pick up the commitment from Tory Boyd this afternoon, the safety from junior college in California. We'll talk more about that and more about him coming up in a little bit. Of course, we'll have a complete recruiting recap for you and tell you what's been going on out there throughout the day. And also Aja Wilson and the USC women's basketball team, ranked number 1 in the country. They put that on the line tonight. They are way out in Missouri for their next SEC game coming up tonight. Good to have you with us. Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, the professor, Tom Hayes. And our phone number is 800-956-7266. On top of all that, Barkley Radeball, the coach at Charleston Southern, they got a very nice win last night over Liberty in Big South Conference action. He'll join us tonight a little bit later on to talk about where his team is headed this season. We've got the NFL championship games coming up this weekend, and, of course, plenty of stuff to talk about regarding recruiting and football all around here. In fact, guys, I was interested in Josh Kendall's breakdown of the SEC for 2015, and we can throw that out to the listeners and get their take, agree or disagree. He's got the East lining up as Georgia, Missouri, and South Carolina, and he's got the West being led by Auburn, with Alabama third in the West looking ahead to 2015. Does he have a good handle on it?
I mean, it's you put a bunch of teams in a hat and you could just pull them out. There's no telling. Nobody has picked Missouri in any of the past 2 years. They weren't picked to win the division. Out West, you could go Auburn, you could go Alabama, you could go LSU. Year in and year out, it's usually going to be one of those teams. I think it's way, way too early. So many questions to be answered. You don't know. I mean, you just don't know. I think it's an educated guess that he took, but I mean,
two things.
How do you agree or disagree with that?
Two things I do know. When you pick Missouri, that's when they won't make it. And I think a lot of people are downplaying Texas A&M. I think if they have any modicum of a defense, they're going to be tremendously
I think Missouri's going to go back in the pack. I'm going to continue to hate on Missouri.
That's just because you keep losing guys to Bill Pollock.
Right. I know. He already has everything and more from us.
No, you pick Missouri. You pick them, and then they drop.
But Georgia isn't a bad pick. No. That's not a bad one.
And, of course, look at the way things are happening over there with Florida State losing the players they're losing. Got to say Clemson to win the Atlantic Division. I would say the odds-on favorite. the phone number here on Sports Talk is 800-956-7266. Give us a call. Lines are open right now. You can jump on board. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com. The website is sportstalksc.com. On Twitter, SportsTalkSC, and Facebook, Sports Talk Radio Network. Coming up on the program, tell you about all the recruiting stuff of the day. The headlines, of course, Torrey Boyd commits to USC, safety out of Chaffee Junior College in California. South Carolina gets in today to see Tiga Wanoko Jr. from Alabama. We'll tell you more about that. Also, USC involved with offensive lineman Trey DeRuin, and he's got his visit set. We'll give you more on that. We'll talk about Rashard Fenton, who's visiting South Carolina as well, and also Denzel Johnson, who's visiting Clemson this weekend, might very well be ready to commit to the Tigers. People say, gosh, you got so much South Carolina stuff and not so much on Clemson. Well, South Carolina is actively involved with many more 2015 guys right now than Clemson is, so there's a lot more to follow. Clemson is pretty much done. They get Johnson, they get Mark Fields, and that might be it for them. They still might take Kareem Orr if they can get him. He's coming in for a visit. That's another defensive back. That remains to be seen. But the Tigers, with 15 players already enrolled in school and a class that's almost complete, they're putting most of their efforts now into the 2016 class. And, of course, we'll roll our attention over to that a little bit later on. But right now we're busy just trying to keep up with the developments with the 2015 guys. And South Carolina is still out there offering folks and just sort of seeing who's still available and who they might be able to get interested in coming in for a visit. The Gamecocks offered an offensive lineman in Georgia who's been committed to California that they're trying to get to come in for a visit. So they're just still out there hunting and pecking and trying to see who they can generate interest with.
Could you see a day where they're going to just bite the bullet and said early signing period? Because these commitments mean nothing anymore. I mean, it
makes sense to do that, but I think coaches would fight it, believe it or not, even though on the one hand, it would make their lives and their business make a little more sense, but they would fight it because, a lot of them recruit and live on the late turn, on recruiting these guys deeper and deeper into the recruiting year and getting that player to decommit and turn their way. And if you have an early signing period and a guy – say I don't know when you would set the early signing period to begin. Let's say it was 1st of August, and he signed in the 1st of August, and then then you don't have that opportunity to recruit him through the season.
Well, I mean, you don't have to sign at the 1st of August, and it works in basketball, it works in baseball.
But there's got to be there would have
mess.
to be a lot of conditions applied. For example, let's say you had an early signing period, you sign with the school, and then their staff gets fired. Right. Would there be a provision that would allow you out of that letter of intent? Mm-hmm. There'd have to be some conditions.
There would have to be. And I'm sure like anything else, there would be a lobby. I don't think it'd be good for the websites that cover recruiting, these pay-to-play websites that cover it. But I think it is a little goofy the way the recruiting scene has become. And if players know where they want to go and they want to sign and get it over with, truly over with, get the phone to stop ringing. It's got to be a huge distraction for these guys to play their high school seasons, go to school, have their phone ringing nonstop, not just from coaches, but from TV stations and reporters across the board. And what kind of message does it send for coaches? I mean, if you make a commitment, you're trying to make a guy break his word. I mean, your word should be worth something. I mean, when you go to and you make a deal and you shake his hand, it's supposed to be a deal. That's the way we work in life. And we're teaching these kids, it's not a deal till you sign the dotted line.
Well, and the other thing, too, is and we all know that major college sports is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yes.
And no multi-billion-dollar industry would run its business the way college sports runs this aspect of its business.
That's why it makes it so much fun.
Well, I say this now, and then you think about your major Wall Street firms, your big companies who pay millions of dollars to their executives.
For insider trading?
Well, no, I'm talking about trying to lure. You don't think IBM is trying to lure the top executives from a competing type company
and
we talk wine and
that,
dine them and pay them? So, I mean, and trying to get them to break their contract, whatever commitment they might have. So I guess it could probably be the same case in big time business.
That's why I was suggesting this won't work. But, in the old days when you followed recruiting, and I say old days because it was a few decades
I don't think
ago.
we should use the phrase old days anymore.
Okay.
Back in
How about vintage
It's
days?
turning into old guy radio.
No,
I don't know.
Remember when you
K-Mac's offended by that.
remember when you think about when players, you used to mention the term that you don't use anymore, silent commitment.
Oh yeah.
Because when a player, and I said it before, and it's a cliche now in the recruiting business, when a player commits, that only lets the other teams know who the enemy is, and they recruit against that team. If a guy gives you a silent commitment, the other schools don't know what school to recruit against. So then it's almost like you're better off having the silent commitment than the public one.
Yeah, the word commitment is definitely a very loose term. And I don't mind these kids that want to get the most out of it. I don't blame them for taking all their official visits because that's bought and paid for. Enjoy it. You only get to experience that once.
I take a visit to Hawaii,
but
just like that.
Don't commit until you're ready. Just don't.
Well, here's the problem, K-Mac, is, a lot of these kids, they have no guidance. They're on their own in many ways.
Wrong guidance.
Have the wrong guidance or no guidance. In a lot of cases now, thank goodness, and I think the world of high school coaches, that. And I think the high school coach has to have some responsibility in the case where a kid doesn't have good home life and doesn't have good adults in his life, then the high school coach needs to step in and lend a hand. But a lot of high school coaches now, they don't want to put up with the headache. They don't want the phone calls. They're gonna step away and they feel like it's the kid's decision. Some kids can handle it well, some kids can't. And college coaches morph into used car salesmen this time of year. I'm talking from Spurrier to Sweeney to Saban.
Well,
they're all out there selling a product.
That's their livelihood. I mean, they make millions of dollars a year, and it is all based on what teenage boys decide to do.
They're dealing with a 17, 18-year-old, most of whom are pretty intimidated, I think, by these guys. Not all. Some of them become jaded at a very early stage in the process. In fact, I saw one kid commit to a tweet today kind of angrily at the media, kind of yelling at the media on Twitter to, leave me alone, don't call me or my family, this sort of stuff about his recruiting. And, that's you used not to get that kind of response from players. And they used to really appreciate the attention that they got. But now the attention really for the top players, for the elite players in the country, I admit that the attention it can be overwhelming if you don't handle it well. Now, some of the responsibility belongs on the player. If it's January and you're still dealing with 15 or 20 schools, then that's your fault. There's no reason not to have your list down to a small number and kind of know where you want to go by this stage of the game.
Yeah. Well, and they get pulled in so many different directions too. And that's got to be tough. And another thing with these high school coaches, why they don't want to deal with it, it's not just the players, but they're going to be the ones fielding these phone calls from everyone. And what I've noticed is just observing some of the in-state coaches, when a kid doesn't go to one of the in-state schools, and all of a sudden that fan base blames, he turned him in. There was one coach, I won't mention his name, but he was actually a South Carolina grad, and the player didn't go to South Carolina, and it wasn't and they blamed him. They said, he said I wanted him to go to South Carolina. It was his choice, so I didn't tell him where to go. I can't force him to go there. I didn't tell him not to go there, but I mean, he wanted to go to this school.
When Ted Luckadoo was coaching at Westside, and he had Sean Ellis, and everybody thought he was going to go to Clemson, and he ends up going to Tennessee. Boy, they were ready to run him out of town on a rail. And, Ted, I remember covering it. He's like, look, I got nothing to do with it. The kid's making his decision. I'll take him anywhere he wants to go on a visit, et cetera, et cetera. And, he went to Tennessee and he loved it. And that's where he ended up going
there.
If you'd like to chime in on the program, 800-956-7266. Don't forget to follow us should you lose us over the airwaves at any point in time. Catch us via our website, audio stream at the top of the page, video stream at the bottom of the page, and also a couple of our affiliates are streaming for you through iHeartRadio, WSCA FM down in Myrtle Beach, WGVL AM up in Greenville. Also our affiliate in Newberry, WKDK, has their app you can go to and click on that and listen to us there. And also our affiliate in Myrtle Beach, WSCA, also has an app that you can download and click on to catch us should you lose us over the airwaves. Yes, sir.
I was about to say the world is out of its orbit.
Again?
Yes, it is. And global warming is true. Drum roll, please. The Pro Football Writers Association, NFL Executive of the Year.
Oh, yeah.
Jerry Jones. That is a scary thought.
The Joker.
Not really.
Doesn't he remind you, though, of the Joker from the Batman movie?
Yeah, Jack Nicholson. Wait till they get a look at me.
I'm thinking more of the more recent one, the Dark Knight version.
Oh, the one that the guy that passed away.
Yeah. And
Heath Ledger with the scars.
Yeah.
With all the scars on his face.
Yeah. Without the scars. But I mean the tight face and all that. Yeah, Executive of the Year, Jerry Jones. Go figure. All right, basketball. Now
doesn't look like the Joker to me, though. I've never heard that. Did you come up on your own?
I did. I don't take material from anybody else.
Right.
It's all original.
Maybe you should.
When you hear it from me, it's original. All right, we've got Wofford and Citadel just getting underway down in Charleston. Furman plays at Mercer tonight. In the SEC, it's Auburn at Florida, 7 o'clock tip on ESPN2. We mentioned USC women tonight on the SEC network at Missouri. USC 16-0, 4-0 in SEC play. Missouri 11-6, 1-3 in SEC play. And I mean, not only is USC winning games for the most part, they're blowing people out. Kentucky did play them to an 8-point game, but they beat Alabama by nearly 50. They beat LSU by 24. They beat Auburn by 19, and on and on. So they're not only winning, they are winning by big margins. And we'll see if they can keep it going tonight. The road has not appeared to be a problem for them to this point. They've won on the road handily. They've won at home, and of course the USC women stay on the road. This 2-game road trip. They go to Florida on Sunday, and then they come home for Texas A&M and Alabama. And, of course, down the road they've got to go to Georgia. They've got Connecticut coming up in February on the road.
There's the deal right there.
That could be something. Number one, if they're still number one,
and
USC at Connecticut. And should they survive that and keep on winning, I don't know if they can keep it going. February 23rd at 9 o'clock. Could it be the first 18,000 seats attended game, 18,000 sellout at the Colonial Life Arena? I don't see why it wouldn't be the case. We are back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, Thursday night from downtown Coletown. Phil Kornblut, the professor, Tom Hayes, K-Mac, Kevin McCrary, and the state man, Graham Pope, once again behind the bulletproof glass. 800-956-7266 is how you can reach us. Also, email talkback at SportsTalkSC. And on Twitter, the Twitter timeline for us is at SportsTalkSC. If you haven't signed up for Twitter on us, make sure you do that pronto so you can be part of the Twitter family, following Sports Talk and keep up with the various things that we talk about. Now, if you see something of fact, news-related, for the most part, that's me and K-Mac. If you see something hostile and in an attacking form,
that's Pro.
That's K-Mac. I'm not sure Pro even
attacking.
tweets. You tweet?
No,
Yeah.
I hate that stuff.
Yeah.
I've never been hostile or attacked anybody.
No, not you. That would be far from your style on Twitter. Now, some things are happening in high school football in our state. Couple of major stories. First of all, John Jones has left Sumter High School after, well, he was the head coach for 1 year. He was an assistant for several years. He's taking over the job at Darlington High School. And so there now is once again an opening at Sumter High School. They have had a little bit of a run of bad luck with their head coaches. Meantime, over at Spring Valley High School, Coach Jerry Brown, who was accused of slapping a student in the face in class, is not going to be charged criminally. This according to the Richland County Sheriff's Department. A student cited in an incident report filed with deputies on Monday that Brown, who's identified in the report as Clinton Leroy Brown. I never knew that was his name. I always knew him as Dr. Jerry Brown, but it's Clinton Leroy Brown.
Bad Leroy Brown.
Slapped a male student on the side of the face with an open palm as a demonstration during a lesson about obedience last Thursday. The student, who was not identified, said he felt violated by 64-year-old Brown, who's 6'5", 270. This says, I'm not sure he's 270. He's a big guy. Maybe he is. The report said the student's mother wanted to pursue assault charges.
Ooh.
The student quoted Brown as saying, quote, "If you get out of line, I have to correct you."
Wow.
In the quote. But after reviewing investigators' information from Brown, the student, witnesses, and Richland 2 officials, the magistrate judge determined there was no malicious and criminal intent to harm the student. According to Curtis Wilson, Lieutenant Curtis Wilson of the Sheriff's Department, Brown did not confirm or deny he was involved in the incident being investigated, but he did send an email to the state. Quote, "I am shocked at the sudden developments, and I am unaware of any wrongdoing on my part of any kind. I care deeply about my players, and they know I would always have their best interest at heart. I have enjoyed helping young players become good men, to be better husbands and fathers all my career, and desire to continue to work with young people." End of the quote. Now, Brown was placed on administrative leave while the district conducted its investigation. And so there you go. I mean, look, Jerry Brown is a fine, fine man and an outstanding football coach. And I can only believe what he's saying here is that he didn't, mean to harm anybody. And if this was part of a class, he was demonstrating in some form or fashion the point that he was trying to get across. Now, in today's world, I understand you talk to teachers, and I live with a teacher, and I even ran this by her, and she was aghast. She's like, you can't touch a student. I mean, you can't. Teachers are under so much restraint and under the threat of so many different things. You can't touch a student, no matter how bad a student may be acting up. And so, but in this case, they obviously felt like it was a demonstration. It was part of class activity, and there was no malicious intent involved.
And that also means in a classroom setting, you can't even pat them on the back if they've done something good. They'd rather you not even do that.
Yeah, which is a shame, which is an absolute shame because, back in my day, If you got out of line, they jerked you back in line. And I think it made us better people and better men.
Back in my day, if they didn't have a strap, they went to the science lab and got the tube off a Bunsen burner and gave you a little spanking.
Oh, listen, there was always a board available in my principal's office. How about yours, Ken? K-Mac, you strike me as one principal's office over at Pelion High School.
Not high school. They phased out the paddling by the time I was in high school. That was more of an elementary
school. I
got
paddled in the 12th grade.
Really?
You got kidding.
Yeah, they didn't paddle once you got to high school.
Probably your mouth got in trouble. Mouth got you in trouble.
In fact, our principals, they were skilled. They were learned in the art of paddling.
The best board I've seen the art of paddling is the one that had the kind of a half-inch thick with masking tape over the middle.
Of course, the ones we had, had holes drilled in them for better aerodynamics.
So the whistle.
And then, of course, you'd have to lean over, and this made it really bad. You had to pick up a chair because they wanted those butt muscles tightened so they could really get into the bloodstream and really make you burn. So I'm telling you, it was an art where I grew up. So you didn't step out of line too much. One trip, actually, it never worked for me because I had many, many trips to the principal's office back in my day. But anyway, I'm glad things are apparently working out for Coach Brown, and things will calm down and he'll be fine. 800-956-7266. Have you seen this story about this new website called U-Booster? U-Booster is out of Greenville, and it was designed to allow, now get this, this is an interesting idea. I still haven't kind of got my mind around this on how this benefits anybody, really. It allows sports fans to pledge funds to their favorite school. If the school signs a coveted recruit, the school gets the money. For example, say you're a South Carolina fan pro, okay? And say Tiga there in Alabama that we're going to be talking about, okay? So you want South Carolina to get Tiga. So you go on this website and you pledge money as much as you want to, I guess, $10, $100, $1,000, whatever. South Carolina, $5,000 to $5,000. Okay, $5,000 to $5,000. And whatever you pledge on your credit card, if they get the kid, you're going to be charged that money.
That is scary on so many levels.
It says here the money is to be used to offset defray costs of scholarships and the full cost of a scholarship for these major university students.
And if the kid stinks, do I get my money back?
There's no money back guarantee here. But here's the other part of it. This is something that's really new and just getting out there, and apparently is becoming popular with some schools. But Clemson, was in the Greenville News. Clemson sent a cease and desist letter to U-Booster founder and CEO Rob Morgan and said, immediately refrain from raising any money on behalf of Clemson, either directly or indirectly. They wanted no part of it. Now, I'm not sure if any other schools have gone to those steps yet to separate themselves from this. But I mean, I'm trying to, what's the benefit for the booster out of all this, except for the satisfaction of giving more money to your school, but you kind of feel like you're buying a recruit to go to the school?
Yeah, but it seems to me when anytime you have a go-between, that means that the amount of money that you pledge, somehow some of that money is not going to find its way to your favorite school. It's going to be in the pocket of the website you pledged through.
Well, they're going to get their cut.
Well, see, that's why I'm saying it's better off you go directly to the school, not just for a recruit. If you want,
or just go directly to the recruit and do it like in the old days.
Oh, that's scary.
If you want to make sure you're getting the player.
Come on now.
I think some of that still goes on, to be honest with you. To the recruiting report we go here on Sports Talk. Then we'll get to your phone calls. Those of you on the phone lines, hang on. Coming to you in just a little bit. As we mentioned at the outset today, Tory Boyd. If you look at the spelling too much, you'll mispronounce it. Tory Boyd, 6'1", 193. Chaffee Junior College in California. Commits to USC earlier today. That's 28 total newcomers in the class. And the fifth pledge for the secondary. Now, depending on where they play some of the guys. But right now I've got him with 5 in the secondary. Of course, he was offered Wednesday by Grady Brown. His academic work passed muster with the university. He was going to go to Boise State from high school, went to junior college first, College of the Desert, and then Chaffee. He grew up in Birmingham before moving to California at age 13, and, of course, very happy to be back in the SEC. Says he's a physical player, says he's athletic. He plays with, he says, a different type of attitude and tenacity when he's on the field. 80 tackles last year, 2 kicks. He broke up 10 passes. He blocked 4 kicks. He expects to play safety at South Carolina. USC recruiter Kurt Bodkin met with defensive end Tiga Winogo Jr., Elmore, Alabama this afternoon. The two talked about Winogo taking an official visit to USC January 23rd. He has an official visit to LSU for this coming weekend. Tennessee and Alabama were also at the school today, and tonight he will see Auburn and Tennessee again. Oregon, Florida, and Georgia are also getting involved, and more schools are on the way in to see him tomorrow before he leaves on his visit. North Carolina, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State are also trying to get in. USC appears to be in pretty decent shape with him at this point, and Steve Spurrier is planning to meet with him next week. So I don't think he's going out there to meet with him unless he feels like he's got a good chance to get him, or at least a decent chance to get him. Georgia met at school and at home today with Shrine Bowl defensive lineman Andreas Bryant of Fort Dorchester. Georgia did not offer during the meetings, but Bryant said he hopes to hear something from the Bulldogs over the weekend. He set an official visit to Georgia for January 30th. He's going to Georgia Southern on January 23rd. He's not taking a visit this weekend because of the SAT. USC coaches Steve Spurrier Jr., Sean Elliott, and Everett Sands also were at Fort Dorchester today, but the Gamecocks are not recruiting Bryant. They were there to check on junior offensive lineman John Simpson and freshman athlete DeCarrion Joyner. USC has offered both. Simpson also has offers from Clemson, Georgia, Wake Forest, and Maryland. Offensive lineman Trey Deruin of Lilburn, Georgia. He's got 3 officials down now and could have a 4th. Deruin will visit Louisville this weekend, USC the following weekend, and Florida January 30th. Kansas State has also come in with an offer, and he might take a midweek visit there. He has offers from Louisville and Kansas State. USC and Florida both want to see him in person on campus before making a call on an offer, according to his coach, Eric Godfrey. Missouri and Louisville were also in to see him today, and Godfrey was expecting USC either later today or tomorrow. He says Deruin remains pretty open on his decision. He played tackle in high school, but he'll be a guard in college. Defensive back Rashad Fenton of Miami is a player that South Carolina offered back in the summer, then kind of got away from him. But after losing a couple of commitments in their secondary, they've gone back to him. And Grady Brown has reestablished the lines of communication. And Fenton is going to visit USC next weekend. And he's still pretty interested in them. He played corner in high school, but he said the Gamecocks see him as a safety, a free safety. He's going to visit Florida this weekend, then USC, and then Louisville. He's also considering a visit to Auburn. He doesn't have a favorite going into the visits. His mother will go with him to Gainesville. He'll take the other visits solo. Athlete Denzel Johnson of AC Flora and his family will spend the weekend at Clemson for an official visit, and Johnson said the odds of committing before leaving are favorable. Scale of 1 to 10, he said, like a 7 or 8. He talked last night with Clemson's Brent Venables. NC State is also in on him, and he's going to visit there on the 30th unless he commits to Clemson and then decides not to visit. But he's been to Clemson in the past and wants to see more of the campus and the facilities on this visit. A visit to Towson, and he also has offers from Liberty, Georgia Southern, the Citadel, South Carolina State, and Appalachian State. Defensive back Kareem Orr of Chattanooga, Clemson was in to see him today. Also Ohio State and Mississippi State. And USC offered offensive lineman Nick Buchanan of Dunwoody, Georgia. He is currently committed to California. Check out recruiting on our website, sportstalksc.com, #STRecruiting. Just talking to Tory Boyd during the break, and he's going to join us in the next hour. Bring him up in about 15 minutes or so, so you'll hear from the latest USC commitment. One thing we're going to try and do here over the next few weeks leading up to signing day is try and talk to as many USC and Clemson commitments that we can reach. Unfortunately, 15 of Clemson's are already in school and are hands off to the media right now while they're in school at Clemson. But those who have not enrolled, we'll try to hook up and let you hear from them or their coach, whichever the case may be that works out the best for us. We'll try to get to as many of those as we can here over the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned. We've got Tory Boyd coming up in the next hour, and also Barkley Radebaugh, coach at Charleston Southern, in the next hour to talk about a good win last night and his chances of winning the Big South. And we've got Wofford and the Citadel at halftime.
Yeah, and expectedly Wofford is up by 9 at the half, 37-28. I think last check Wofford is in the 40 range in RPI at this point because they played such a strong non-conference schedule. So the Terriers look like they may, they play their cards right. They're back in the dance.
Well, trying to get to win the conference tournament.
Yeah, right.
But they're 13-4 if they win that game, which they should, 5-0 in the SoCon.
Exactly. All right, to the phones we go, and it's Reggie in Columbia. Hello, Reggie. How are you?
Hey, I have a question for K-Mac. K-Mac.
Wait. Why did you use your real name this time?
Because it's a legitimate question. K-Mac, if Kevin Steele is doing interviews in Baton Rouge this fall and somebody accidentally steps on his foot, what might be his reaction to that little
I think it'll go something like this. I'm standing right here. It ain't that hard.
That'll work.
I'm standing right here. Hey, you know why Reggie? That's Reggie Anderson from News 19, because he calls our show knowing that by being on our airwaves, he's heard by more people in 30 seconds than he's viewed in a week on television. So it's a way of building his own ego and trying to improve the ratings over there. Have we got that Kevin Steele? Handy, grab it real quick because it's time for a Kevin Steele flashback here on Sports Talk. Maybe we'll get him on the show once recruiting is over. He's away from the clamp that Nick Saban puts on his assistant coaches. He doesn't let his folks go near the media. I think Les Miles maybe is a little lighter handed with his coaches when it comes to that.
Yeah, because he feels that his assistants have a little bit more of a chest than some other staff.
Yeah. All right. Coming up on the top of the hour break, we'll have Torrey Boyd coming up. We'll also have Barkley Radeball. Time for more of your calls. Lose us over the airwaves. Again, our website, sportstalksc.com. We have the audio feed upper right-hand corner, and we have the video feed down at the bottom of the page. I'm the good-looking one in the middle, but you don't really get to see me clearly because of the microphones. It's K-Mac over there. He's the younger one.
I think the microphones block us all.
Yeah, and that's the professor who's making like Joe Morrison tonight and dressed in all black because it was clean and it was hanging there, I guess.
There you go.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornblut, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
And we're back, Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network on a Thursday night from downtown Columbia. Phil Kornblut, Kevin McCrary, Professor Tom Hayes. Coming up, Tori Boyd and also Barkley Radebaugh. 800-956-7266 is our number. If you want to jump on the phone line very quickly with a comment or question or an observation, 800-956-7266 is how you can dial us up. Florida up on top of Auburn early in Gainesville. 4-2. Gators, of course, with a long-running domination of the Auburn basketball teams around the SEC in recent years. You know, it looked like going into SEC play that this might be a year when the Gators were up for grabs by the other teams, a chance to maybe get some revenge by some teams that have been handled by them in recent years. However, as we've seen K-Mac, they find a way to win. Billy Donovan gets the best out of his players, suspends them when he needs to, whatever the case may be, but gets them to play at a pretty high level, as we saw in Columbia, and they continue to do their winning thing.
Yeah, you had a feeling they were kind of rounding the troops together, galvanizing things in that matchup against the Gamecocks last week in Columbia. That far too soon to write them off. They're one of those teams that come March, they'll be playing their best basketball and they'll be around in the SEC tournament. I would imagine they have a lot of good players on that team that haven't been around.
Yeah, they just don't have the experience they had last year. That team's experience won a lot of games for them, because I think this team is more talented than that team from a basketball standpoint. They just don't have the experience. And remember, that Florida team, they lost a couple of 4 tough non-conference games to start the season, including the game they pretty much handed to UConn at Gainesville. But remember, they had, I think, something like a 16-point lead at Kansas in the first half, only to see the Jayhawks roar back in the second half and win that game.
Gators 2-0 in the league. This is really, though, this is tough now. They're playing tonight, and then they've got to travel and play at Georgia Saturday. The Thursday-Saturday deal is not fair. I know they want this Thursday game for TV purposes, but again, here's a case where you let television dictate scheduling. It's not fair for the players. It's hard to make that. It's not fair to ask them to play on a Wednesday night, then travel and play again on Saturday. Preparation time, class time, whatever reason you want to make of it. But again, the administrators turn a deaf ear and all that kind of stuff when it comes to the needs of television.
But let's face it, the Pac-12 has done it for years, but they do it in tandem. Like when Washington State go on the road, they go together, and then they play one plays UCLA, and the other one plays Southern Cal, and then they switch up on that Saturday.
Yeah, let's see how Florida does in Athens on Saturday, see if they're dragging after this game tonight. Tori Boyd coming up next on Sports Talk. right, we're back on Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from Columbia. Good to have you with us. Florida leading Auburn 11-6. And what do you have, bro?
We've got Mercer leading Furman 16-4. They're just into the first half. And Wofford 47 to Citadel 37 with about 15 minutes to go in that game.
All right. Recruiting remains very hot in this part of the world. And South Carolina picked up another commitment today, picked up a valuable player for their secondary. They lost a couple of commitments in that part of their class, and they have refilled one of those spots with a commitment from Torrey Boyd, 6'1", 193 from Chaffee Junior College in California. And he joins us now. Torrey, how you doing, man?
I'm great. How's it going?
Great. You know, I've always wanted to talk to somebody who lives in Rancho Cucamonga. Now, when you moved out there from Hoover, Alabama to Rancho Cucamonga, how long did it take you to
I actually moved from Irondale, it's right outside Birmingham. But when I moved to Rancho, man, it didn't take that long. Got to write it on schoolwork and stuff, man.
Yeah. Rancho Cucamonga. What does it mean, Rancho Cucamonga?
I'm actually unaware of that.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people will ask you that when you get here to South Carolina. We don't get many people from Rancho Cucamonga, this part of the world. Well, congratulations on your commitment to South Carolina, first of all. And
thank you
it's
so
been
much.
A pretty crazy week for you. This kind of came out of the blue and had to go through the vetting of your transcript and all your academics, and that turned out well. Just how do you feel about getting this opportunity to play at South Carolina and to play in the SEC?
It's just breathtaking. It's a blessing and it's a dream come true. I've always pictured myself playing SEC football, and I've always pictured myself playing at the highest level. So this is a perfect opportunity for me to come in and do my things and come in and really set the standard for myself.
Now, you really paid the price to get to this point. I mean, it looked like you were headed to Boise State out of high school. I had to go the junior college route, a couple of different places there. Get the academic work done, and now you're getting that opportunity. What about your game as a safety kind of stood out that caught the eye of Coach Brown, the Gamecock defensive staff, that they like and they see you being able to play a role in their defense?
Well, I can play multiple positions in back for corner my freshman year, and that made me quicker at safety, as I would say. So now I know the scheme better of the defense, and I'm more avid with what's going on around. And me playing safety and playing corner, I feel like I'm a physical corner, but when I came to safety, I bring hard tackles across the middle. So I think they like that about me too.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned you wanted to play in the SEC, but before you got the call from South Carolina, how closely did you follow the Gamecocks, Steve Spurrier, Lorenzo Ward, that program? How familiar with that program were you?
I mean, I've always kept up with every school in the SEC because I've always wanted to go to SEC, so I've always been I've always known about Coach Spurrier. I know the first round pick just came from there. I know about Swanger. I know about a lot of stuff about it, but I didn't know. Basically, it was in Columbia. I didn't even know South Carolina was a different. I thought it was just one Carolina. I didn't know it was North and South.
Yeah, there's a border that separates us for sure. We don't like those people to the north. Okay, so you're in the good part. You're in the good part of Carolina. Talking with Torrey Boyd, defensive back, safe out of Chaffee Junior College, heading to South Carolina. So, you said you like to hit? Do you consider yourself kind of a head-hunting safety? Do you play with some attitude and with some physicality?
Yeah, I play with a lot of tenacity. So I get on the field and I'm thinking hunger right then and there because you only get one opportunity and you never know when your last opportunity is going to be to step on that field. So I'm going hard, but I don't necessarily look for the hit all the time. I feel like me going into college and just getting smarter as a safety, the hit is a good thing. It's cool to hit people across the middle, but I'm trying to turn those into interceptions, step in front of some of these passes and get quicker.
Mm-hmm. In your playing experience, how much experience do you have playing against spread offenses. And the other question is, because you like to hit, what was there an adjustment period with these rules they have now where you can hit a receiver, how you can hit him leading with the head? What about that as well?
Well, yeah, I've always played against spread offenses like since I first moved to California. Actually, like I speak shotgun, so I've been seeing the hurry up offense in high school, and I've been seeing it in junior college. So I mean, I'm pretty good with hurry up offense. It's basically like same thing. You just gotta be more. You gotta have more stamina and be better. Be ready for the fast paced offense. But with hitting, I would say that didn't really affect me. I don't really like lead with my head, so I've always been taught to tackle the correct way and still bring the blow. So I don't think that'll affect me at all.
Talking with Torrey Boyd, who's headed to USC. At the end of the day here in your recruiting, you had the offer from South Carolina. Now you're going to visit Georgia State at one time. You had Texas State in there. You visited Southern Miss. And, you know, the fans, they want to hear bigger names, bigger programs involved with players that their team is recruiting. Did you have some other opportunities from power conference schools at one point or another? Schools that were showing you some serious interest? Yeah.
When I first transferred to Chaffee in that spring, I got offered from Utah and I got offered from Arizona. And the reason that I didn't end up with those offers at the end of the season is because basically they wanted to rush me into a commitment, and I wasn't ready to do that because I hadn't been on an official visit. So it was just kind of like waiting out my process kind of thing, and I didn't want to commit, so they kind of had to pull on me. And I mean, after that, it was just all small schools. I mean, Washington State was offering me a scholarship, but I had to be a mid-year.
Mm-hmm.
And that threw things off too because I'm graduating in May. But besides that, I guess everything worked out perfect because whether it would have been any power conference, I'm glad that it's the SEC.
Sure. And things are looking positive for you academically to get out in May?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And you mentioned your visit to USC next weekend. Any of the Gamecock coaches getting out to see you on the West Coast before you come east, or are they going to come see you later on, or what's the plan there?
I don't think so. I think I'm just coming out there for the visit.
You looking forward to some Southern hospitality for the first time? All right, some South Carolina hospitality. I know you're familiar with the South.
Yes, sir. I'm looking forward to actually touching down in the South. I haven't been there so long. It's going to be a breathtaking experience.
Yeah.
Well,
especially being a city and a state I've never been in.
Yeah. You haven't had some good soul food in a while, I'd imagine, out west.
No, sir.
Rancho Cucamonga, that is in Chaffee Junior College. What city is that, near Los Angeles?
It's about 45 minutes out from Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm. Guess you become a Lakers fan?
You said, have I ever been a Lakers fan?
Oh, did you become a Lakers fan? Have you become a Lakers fan while you're out there?
No, sir. I've never liked the Lakers. Like, I don't know what it is about them, but I've just never been a Lakers fan.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I agree with you on that.
I disagree there.
Maybe you're a Celtics fan.
I don't know what it is about them. I just don't like them.
Well, we congratulate you once again on your commitment to USC, and thank you for spending the time with us. And enjoy your trip to Columbia next weekend, and we'll keep in touch with you here up until signing day.
Yes, sir. We got you.
All right, Torrey, thank you very much. That's the rallying cry of the Gamecocks now, right?
We cocky,
That's the
South
Twitter
Carolina,
rallying
and
cry.
the Clemson one is we too deep.
We too deep.
Also,
and
who's
we
cocky,
hashtags
who's cocky is the Citadel, because now it's 51-47.
Oh, my.
With 10 and a half minutes to go.
A little tight there.
We doggy down at the Citadel. We doggy? Does that work for anybody? We doggy?
No, it doesn't.
It does not work.
We bulldoggy? Hell, Florida is walking the dog on Auburn 26-8. Now, see, Auburn playing tonight on the road, and they got to travel back to Auburn, and then South Carolina comes in on Saturday. This should be advantage Gamecocks because what?
It won't be an advantage Gamecocks. What will happen is he will use the Frank Martin and Brad Brunell system. And that is Bruce Pearl, get to the microphone. Our team, I'm disappointed. We're selfish. We can't have that. We're going to have a team meeting.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to hit the reset button. I mean, all the cliches, and then they're going to come out firing because they're angry at being blown out in this game. But this game is not over, and we know
it's over.
That Bruce Pearl is an excellent coach. I mean, you never know.
It's over.
It'll be interesting. We'll see.
Go ahead and mark it down. It's over.
15-0 run. Well, now it's been
26-11, 8 minutes to go. It's pretty much over.
Yeah.
Thanks to Tori Boyd for joining us. I tell you, sounds like a good kid. Yeah, sounds like a good kid, and he sounds very confident in himself, and I think he's grateful for the opportunity to play in the SEC and prove that he's a good player and can play at that level. And South Carolina, with their safety situation, they'll have Chaz Elder will be back. They'll have Gurley back as well at safety, but they need more. They need to develop some depth there, so they take him, put him in the safety spot there. They're still recruiting several other guys for corner and safety. Rashad Fenton, who we mentioned earlier tonight, coming in for a visit next weekend. He's a safety prospect. Now, he obviously is pretty highly regarded because he's got Louisville, he's got Auburn, he's got Florida and South Carolina on him. So that tells me he's thought pretty highly of by these coaches.
Well, I tell you what, the best recruits for that defensive backfield is Dexter Wideman and all them other guys up front. They can put a pass rush on somebody so guys don't have time to eat a sandwich and have a cup of coffee before they throw the football.
I did I guess, what's it called? An online recruiting chat today. K-Mac, you ever do a chat online?
No.
With
I
people you've never met before?
I avoid chatting online as much as possible.
But anyway, we were talking about that. And, South Carolina's defense is automatically going to age before your very eyes because you mentioned, Dante Sawyer's coming in older than a typical first-year player. Dexter Wideman, older than your typical first-year player. Quay Lewis, he's a junior college transfer, older. Jones, when he gets there, a junior college guy, he's going to be older. They're going to have 21, 22-year-olds up there on that defensive front, along with the returning guys who naturally are a year older. The defense has got to be better simply because they're going to be older and more experienced.
Yeah, if they can assimilate all those guys and get them on the same page in terms of the system and not having any of those
they keep Cedric Cooper
busted
healthy.
assignments. But I think the secondary is going to be better. They threw those guys out to the wolf.
I'm willing to bet you right now. I'm willing to bet you.
They're going to have Wesley Green back next year.
Mark it down. What's today's date? January what?
15.
January 15. South Carolina's defense next season finish in the top 50 nationally.
Oh, that's a big limb, Corn.
Well, that's 50% improvement over where they were this year.
If you really wanted to go on a limb, you'd say top 30.
Great. Well, Auburn's trying to inch its way back into that ball game. It's 26-15, 6.5 minutes to go in the first half in Gainesville. What do you have down in Charleston there, Pro?
It is now Wofford 60, the Citadel 53 with about 6 minutes to go. And down in Georgia, it's Mercer 24 and Furman 13 with 6 minutes to go in the half.
All right, let's continue talking some basketball. We welcome in good friend of Sports Talk, having another fine year at Charleston Southern, Coach Barkley Radebaugh, coming off a nice win last night over Liberty. Did you sneak away and get over to the Citadel to watch that game tonight?
I didn't know. If I put another basketball game on my schedule, I don't know what Hope would do. She probably wouldn't cook for about three or 4 weeks. She starved me out. Something, I don't know. But there's no way I'm getting another basketball game in this week.
Only when you have to.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Only when you have to. Well, congratulations.
How are you guys doing?
Hey, we're doing great. We're doing great, and it's good to have you with us. A nice win last night at home against Liberty, so that makes you 3-2 in the league, 9-7 overall. Has it been a little bit slower of a start for you in league play than you projected?
Well, Phil, our schedule late December and to start the league was really difficult in that 2 of our first 5 games were at Coastal and then at High Point, and they're the 2 league favorites. We had hoped to get one of those. We protected our home court, and we got off to a good miss, got off to a 5-2 start, and then we had NC State on the road, Wofford on the road, and Colorado State on the road in consecutive games, and it kind of zapped our confidence a little bit, and it's taken us a little bit to recover. Those are 3 very difficult games, and we didn't play particularly well in those games. But we got back to ourselves last night. We had 17 threes. We looked like, the team that we thought we would be able to have.
Yeah. Are you playing at the tempo now that you want to play up and down the court? And like you said, you had 17 threes last night, shooting that 3 as quickly as possible?
We're shooting a lot of threes. Now, they chose to zone us last night. So, we're real committed when people zone us that we're going to shoot the 3 ball. And we took 36 of them, which is a few more than we normally take. But, being able to hit 17 of those is pretty good. Yeah, we want to play fast because of our size. We want to get up and down the floor as fast as we can. And we want to create open space for Sa Nimley and Arlon Harper, our two fine guards, and let them get into broken floor situations and create great opportunities for us.
Well, you're second in the league. You were going into last night. You may be number 1 now after hitting all those threes. I don't know, but you were second in the league in 3-point field goal percentage. I guess you're right around 36%. What's a good number for you as you go through this? What do you think you guys should be shooting at percentage-wise from 3? What's typical for you?
Well, we 2 years ago when we won the league, we shot 38% from 3, and that's the year we let B.J. Mackey coach the shooting, and then I took it back over, and it went downhill quickly, and now B.J. is taking it back over, and he took it over last week, and so we hit 17 last night. So B.J.'s not letting me forget that. He's going to remind me of that often, but. No, 30, anytime you can shoot, mathematically, when you can shoot over 33%, it's equal to shooting 50% from 2. And then any team in college basketball that can shoot 50% from 2 is very effective offensively. And so if we can shoot 36, 37%, then that's an amazing figure for us. And I think we can round into that. We're not there yet. Some of that has been to do with the level of competition that we've played, and that the bigger schools have bigger guards that can contest our shots more than Big South guards can. So the size really affects us shooting from the perimeter a lot. Speaking of Big South guards, we had Cliff on last night. Of course, they're off to a great start in league play. Sure, you've already seen them. Which backcourt do you like the most, yours or his? Well, of course, mine. I love our backcourt. They've been very productive for the last 3 years. I wouldn't trade them for anybody. Cliff certainly has a terrific backcourt and a terrific team, and they are so well coached. And we had a barn burner there. It was our league opener, and it was a 1-point game with a minute to go. we fouled a couple times and then they had a breakaway and we got a flagrant foul, and they got 4 free throws out of that. So it was a terrific basketball game. He does such a good job with his team, poised, and they certainly played to their strengths, and they play at a great rhythm offensively and are got great size defensively. And Cliff has a very, very good team. They come back to the Buck Dome in February, so we're looking forward to that, and that'll be a tremendous challenge for us.
Last night at your end of the game presser, you got on the stump for your point guard, Saad Nimbley. What makes him so effective? Of course, last night he had 30.
He's just a heck of a player. He does everything for us. He runs our club. He averages 17 points a game. He shoots it at a good percentage. He's second in the league in assists. He's a marked man every time we play, and people gear their offenses to stop him. And I just think he deserves some recognition more than just in the Big South. And next time you have a Big South coach on, ask them about Saad and get their opinion on him. And just I think he's one of the most respected players in our league, and I would just like to see him get a little bit more national recognition. I think maybe playing in a smaller league has affected him a little bit as far as getting some national recognition, but certainly he's deserving. He's going to end up scoring 1,800 points for his career here. And on top of that, he's an incredible student and an incredible young man, and we're real fortunate to have him.
Well, look, we see where a former Charleston Southern assistant football coach is now an NFL head coach. So, hey, Charleston Southern head basketball coach one day might be leading an NBA team. Who knows?
Who knows? What an honor for our school to have an NFL head coach, and just when you read his story, Phil, it's just amazing for the young coaches out there. He was so tough-minded. He's a janitor. He cleaned floors. He did everything to get into the profession and worked his way up. And I have so much respect for guys like that don't come maybe from a bigger school and have to really earn their way. And I'm excited. I'm now a San Francisco fan. I'll be pulling for them for sure. And I'm so excited. We got a state senator from Charleston Southern, and we got an NFL head coach. So we're making progress. A national senator, not a state senator, a U.S. senator.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and of course the Buck Dome. You mentioned that you're now with the win last night, 62-17 at home since 2009. Yeah,
the Buck Dome. The Buck Dome has its advantages. It's the smallest gym in Division I, but I tell you, if you've never been to a game there, you ought to come. And if you'll send me an email, anybody out there, if you'll send me an email, I'll promise you a seat on the first 5 rows, because we only have 5 rows.
Wait a minute. You only got 5 rows? It's only 5 rows?
Yeah, on the home side, man, it's 5 or 6 rows. So you come. We put 1,000 in there, and you go through our league and you see these 6,000 and 7,000 seat arenas, and they have 1,000 people in them, and you just ask, would you rather have a gym that's a little bit smaller, that's packed and exciting, and the students are floor level, or would you rather go play in a big gym, an 8,000 seat gym, and have 1,500 people in it? And years ago, our guys came to me, and we had been playing in the North Charleston Coliseum, and they said, we don't want to play there anymore. We want to play in the Buck Dome. And we've had a lot of success in there. Our students are rabid. It's fanatical in there. It's crazy. And it's certainly the best home court advantage in the Big South, without a doubt.
Going to get there this season. Love to see a game there. Maybe that Coastal Carolina game on February 11th. We can work that out. We'll try to get down there. Thank you, Barkley. Great hearing from you as always. Barkley Radebaugh, coach, very fine coach at Charleston Southern. More sports talk coming up. All right, thanks to Barkley Radebaugh for joining us tonight here on Sports Talk. Florida's up 37-20. Time running out in the first half. What's happening down in Charleston?
64-62 Wofford. About 3 minutes to go.
What a job Chuck Driesell has done this year. He felt that this would be a much better team simply because they've been so young, so many freshmen. They've lost some players to transfer. What?
Update. It is now 30 seconds to go. The Citadel, 67. Wofford, 66.
Wow. Whew. That would be the Citadel's biggest win in years. I mean, you'd have to go back several years to find them. It's probably the biggest win, if it hangs on, be the biggest win of Chuck Driesell's career at the Citadel.
It's almost a classic where you see just by the score, because I can't see the action, where Wofford thought they had it and they let their guard down and they can't get it back. And you've let figuratively, you let the bulldog out of its cage, and now you've got too much you can handle. So it'd be interesting to see if the Citadel can hold on. They have to hit some free throws, obviously, down the stretch.
All right, 800-956-7266 is our phone number. A couple of other notes I wanted to pass along. Speaking of the Citadel, Jeff Hartzell in the Charleston Post and Courier had a rundown of some commitments for the Citadel football team, including linebackers Jordan Williams and Jalon Williams. Actually, Jalon is a defensive end. They are twins from Spring Valley. They've committed to the Citadel. Defensive lineman Kevin Graham, Rabun Gap, Georgia. Defensive back Aaron Spann from Dorman. Linebacker Edward Davis, Farmville, North Carolina. Linebacker Phil Davis from Hillgrove High School in Powder Springs, Georgia. That's interesting because my first on-air professional fake radio name was Phil Davis. Did you know that? Yeah.
Fake radio name?
Yeah,
your alias.
Everybody had fake names back in the day. K-Mac, did you ever have a fake radio name?
No.
Yeah.
No. Well, I guess K-Mac.
Yeah.
When
I first started out at WBUG in Ridgeland, was my first. And I worked in Columbia at various stations, but I wasn't on the air very much. My first real on-the-air situation there. Just didn't think Cornblue came across all that well.
So I
went with Phil Davis. Yeah. But you know what? After that, after I got fired from that job,
you said you're going to stick
with it. I said, yeah, you know what? I am not going to go with a fake name again.
No, you went to the next job and say Cornblue. Didn't you get fired? No, Phil Davis got fired there, but I didn't. I feel Cornblue.
It's going to happen. The Citadel's going to.
Are they going to win?
Upset Wofford. It's a 67-66 Bulldogs
3
lead.
seconds to go.
The Terriers just turned it over, forced a foul with 2.3 seconds left.
Let me finish this list of commitments. Jordan Black, Vidalia High School quarterback. Let's see. He rushed for more than 1,200 yards last year. That's what they need there. Defensive lineman. Oh, how about this name? Attorney Gallman, Hiram, Georgia. Need an attorney? Citadel's got one on their defensive line. Defensive end Noah Dawkins from Burns. Defensive back, Kafari Buffalo. Best name in high school football in South Carolina.
Buffalo.
Kafari Buffalo from Lakewood. Played in the North-South game. Running back Rod Johnson played in he played in the Shrine Bowl out of 96. Rod Johnson, Shrine Bowler. And defensive lineman Isaiah Hawkins, Alpharetta, Georgia. They have all committed to the Citadel. Also, the folks at Coastal Carolina have announced some more mid-year transfers. And we'd mentioned this one before. Ray Lewis III, defensive back, transferring from Miami, the son of the great linebacker. From Kent State, defensive back Adam Maxey. From Pikeville, quarterback Josh Roper, who played at St. James, whose father, David Roper, is from Latta, longtime friend of mine. Son's pretty good quarterback. Wide receiver Kyle Wilson from the University of Memphis. All those folks are transferring into Coastal Carolina at midterm. Is it gone final yet?
No. There was a timeout, and Citadel's going to shoot 2. So I mean, it's going to take a miracle for the Terriers. They're going to be down at least 1 or more.
Yeah.
The end of the North Carolina NC State game last night was wild. They finally got it down to the last 0.7 of a second. NC State was down 3. They put him on the line. He makes the first, misses the second, of course, on purpose. And the ball had a great bounce for NC State, and a Wolfpacker got up and got a tip, but didn't make it. It kind of like rolled off, but he did have a chance to tip it in. All right, it's gone final in Charleston Pro. What was the final?
69-66. The Citadel, probably their biggest win in
forever.
I'd say 6-7 years.
Yeah. That denies Wofford a 5-0 start. Southern Conference play. Tough loss on the road for the Terriers, having a very fine year. Great win for the Citadel. See if they can build on that. They've played a lot of teams tough this year.
Yeah.
And now I believe that evens their record in league play at 3-3. So big win for Chuck Frizzell. We'll have to get him on the program maybe tomorrow night to talk about that, because he's been looking for that kind of a breakthrough victory, and he gets it tonight. Yeah, that makes them 3-3 in league play and 8-9 overall. Now let's see. Citadel gets Furman at home. Furman struggling. They get Furman Saturday. And Wofford returns home to play Western Carolina. See, what they used to do would play the Citadel on Thursday and play College of Charleston on Saturday, or vice versa. And now, of course, the college no longer a part of the SoCon. K-Mac, what's happening on our Twitter timeline?
Some people responding to the news coming down about Ohio State quarterback Cardell Jones returning to school. And he said he wants to get his degree. And it was pointed out that his degree is going to be in African-American studies, and he's turning down potential first-round draft pick money. And some people are
seriously, hang on, timeout, people, timeout. Okay, timeout.
All right, you got a 20-second. Is this a 20?
No,
or full?
I'm extending this to a full.
It's going to be a full.
The guy's played 3 games in college.
Exactly.
And we're anointing him as a first-round NFL draft pick.
We aren't anointing him.
We, as in the general public.
But
there were NFL out there on the internet.
I mean, the point is, when the iron's hot, sometimes you strike. And that's fine. I mean, if he would have come out and said, you know what, I'm not ready. I only played 3 games. I want to play some more. But he did it on the crux of academics, which I think is a pretty weak crutch when it comes to turning down. Now, if you're not ready to go, and some guys come out and they're not ready, they're not going to get drafted. This whole notion, like going to the NFL, that means you'll never learn another thing. Your brain just shuts off. You're not going to get that degree. You can still get that degree, but his draft stock might not be as high as it is now ever again. He might not be drafted.
In whose mind? What NFL executive is saying this guy is ready to go in the first round?
It only takes one idiot. I mean, one general manager.
The Raiders are still in the NFL, Corn. The Buccaneers are still in the NFL.
Yeah, but the Raiders
they've got their
the Jets are still in the NFL.
One's taking Mariota and one's taking Winston.
But he did say at his press conference that he wanted to get his degree and have his mind clear to only be an NFL quarterback instead of trying to go to school while he was in the
wanted
NFL.
What kind of degree?
African-American
studies. Just drive over to Chapel Hill. You can get that this weekend.
Yeah.
And people complain about that degree. Look what it entails. It's a concentration of sociology and history at all levels. So before you poo-poo that degree, look at what it entails to get it.
See you tomorrow night.